listening.
Max, what are these stories?
These are the only 3 stories that I know. That's what these stories are.
Those sound like fantastic stories.
I think Doge, you've heard all 3 before, so it's going to be a little redundant, I guess, but we'll work it out.
I'm excited.
I think
You
when
really need 3 stories.
that's a lot. You don't even need like
Lot of stories.
3 friends. You don't even need 3 stories. More than 3 is just decadent with pretty much everything, I think. I'm gonna try to tell them in like roughly chronological order, but I don't really remember when they happened, so I could kind of mess it up. This is like PG. I'm not supposed to swear. Is that true?
You can swear if you need to.
I think in like certain PG-13 movies, you can say the word "fuck" one time and it's still PG-13. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, but you just used it.
Yeah, so I can't say that one word again, but I can say shit a lot and still PG-13.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And if you say the other word again, no, we just bleep it out. You could say.
That's
as much as
true.
want.
You can bleep things out, right? You're the sound guy, right? So I'll keep that in mind. I do remember. All right, I have 4 stories. This is the 4th story out of chronological order. I lived on this street with 2 cul-de-sacs, one on either end of our little neighborhood. It was a nice neighborhood because there was kind of a busy street on either side, but they had put up this like guardrail kind of barrier so that you couldn't drive through to connect these 2 busy streets. So there's really just these 2 small residential streets in my neighborhood, and so there's not a lot of traffic. It meant all the kids could go out and play in the streets, and especially play in these 2 cul-de-sacs. One in particular, which was flatter. So I used to go up there and play like tennis ball, baseball, and street hockey and stuff like this. So remember, I was up there one time playing street hockey, and I was probably by far the youngest kid in this group, but there were actually a lot of kids in the neighborhood. My brother's about 2 years older than I was, and he was still kind of on the young end of the rest of the kids, and then he might have been the second youngest after myself. So we're up there playing around. It's getting to be dinner time. I guess it's like a summer evening. There's no school. We're just playing games, but it's dinner time, and so my parents would ring. They'd literally have like a dinner bell. They'd ring for us to come back to the house to eat. But we were so caught in the game, we didn't want to leave. And maybe I was feeling a little bit more responsible, or just hungrier. I don't know. So I heard the bell, and I was like, Sam, being my brother, we gotta go. We gotta go eat dinner. We'll be late, and our parents will be mad. But he kept playing. And I was getting fed up because I didn't want to miss out on the game while he was still playing.
You were getting fed up, weren't you?
Yes, I was not getting fed. I was getting fed up, as one says. And so I'm not. The sound guy tells me I shouldn't do this. So here's what happened. My timing was bad. My mother was leaving the house, walking up the hill to the cul-de-sac. We're all playing hockey at the same time that I was starting to walk down the hill, and I decided to scream at my brother. Something obscene. Something that I can't say now because I already said it once.
I can believe it out. You go ahead and say it.
But you would explode if you said it.
I don't want to say it now because it's mean to my brother. It is a phrase. It was you. That is what I said.
I know exactly what.
Yeah, he knows it exactly. I say it to him all the time, so Doge knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what I said, and then right after I said it, my head whipped around, and I saw my mother like 100 feet away from me, walking at me extremely angrily. And that is the one time in my life that my mouth was literally washed out with soap. And like the boy in A Christmas Story, I am now blind. I didn't have glasses before that, and now I do. Very strong prescription too. It's a sad story. Okay, that's the first of my 4 3 stories. Let's go to
The story about how you learned how to count.
Yeah, I haven't done that, so it's a very short story. That's it. I'm telling you right now. Tissue, please. Very emotional. Okay, let's tell the spider story. So, I was a young boy, and I had this very realistic dream. In the dream, I was in my bedroom, sitting down on the carpet playing with my toys. And at this moment, it seemed like I was awake. I was actually playing. Then I felt something weird on my right hand, something like a scratch or a tickle. And I looked down, and there is a huge-ass spider crawling onto my hand. It was like one of those things you'd see in the Iraqi desert, like a camel spider. It has a fat, hairy body, but these like long, spindly legs. And, I don't think I was like an arachnophobe, but I wasn't a fan of huge poisonous spiders on my hand, and I could see its enormous fangs poised to plunge into my hand. I knew it was on the verge of biting me, and I was pretty sure that its bite would be fatal. So, I did the only rational thing, and I bit it before it could bite me. I picked my hand up and shoved it in my mouth and just crunched down onto that spider. And it was so big I couldn't kill it all at once. And I couldn't even fit the whole thing in my mouth. So I felt half the spider in my mouth and half on the outside of my face clawing at my cheek, as its other leg, still alive inside my mouth, was scratching at the inside of my cheek, like scraping away the flesh. And it was still trying to bite me, but I positioned it in such a way that its fangs couldn't quite reach my face, and I kept chomping on it and hearing it crunch as its visceral juices were spurting into my mouth.
How did it taste?
I don't think it tasted bad, honestly. I felt kind of triumphant in that moment because I had outsmarted the spider and out bited the spider.
Breakfast of champions.
I beat it at the spider's own game, as they say. Yeah.
And now you're Spider-Man.
Now I'm Spider-Man. I don't know how to count, but I do have incredible superpowers. Okay, so those are 2 of my 4-3 stories. I think the next one, honestly, this probably happened the first, and I messed up the order. But I wanted to get a haircut as a little boy. I was riding in the back of mother's minivan, and back at this time, I would get a haircut called the Princeton. I don't know if that's a universally recognized haircut or if that's just something that happened in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. I don't know. At this one place, I'm not sure. I think it was kind of a haircut like this, honestly. I don't really know what the Princeton looks like now, but let's say it looks kind of like this. I've had the same haircut for however many years. That's not true, but
it's like the white boy haircut.
Yeah, I had the white boy haircut. That's what they call it in most places. So I got the haircut. I think I was wearing a dinosaur t-shirt. I think it was black with a red dinosaur on it. So I come home. My mom parks in the driveway and goes into the house. I get out, and I want to stay outside because in the driveway was my older brother playing with some of his friends. And I wanted to join in their game. That was story of my childhood. I always wanted to play with the older kids because, I don't know, I guess there weren't a lot of kids my age on the street. And also they were dumb and I didn't want to play with them anyway. So, getting a little dry. I got out of the car. And Doge, if you might remember this story, this is the single formative story of my life. I get out of the car and my brother approaches me. And he says, "What do you think you're doing here?" I go, "Sorry, what? Who are you and why are you wearing my brother's clothes?" "Sam, it's me. I'm your brother. I don't know what you're saying." "You're not my brother. His hair looks way different than that. You can't be my brother." So, yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. But he literally tricked me. I don't know.
How long did it take for him to realize that you were his brother?
Oh, yeah, that's the real part of the story. Yes, it took him. He has not yet realized that I am his brother. He's still waiting for his brother to come back from getting his haircut. And it's been several decades at this point. That would be a better story, honestly. My story is more when did I realize that he was messing with me? I don't know. I didn't realize right away. It might have been later that day when I tearfully went to my mother and be like, "Sam doesn't believe it's me." Or it could have been a year later. I honestly don't know. But anyway, it's the formative story of my life because I decided that moment that no one will ever fool me again and I will fool everyone. Yeah, something like that. Story of my life. And that's why I'm now a sociopath.
A sociopathic robot.
Yes, I am
With
mostly
kleptomania
machine.
and a compulsive buying disorder.
Those things are also true. Which brings me to the final story. At least the sociopath part. So after I crossed a certain threshold in age and immorality, although
Immorality, right?
I am emphasis on the I am morality, yeah, for sure. Although my brother's the older one, I would be the one playing tricks on this guy. I was very mean to him. And sometimes I say this is why I became a runner, was so that I could run away from my brother because he's very big and he wanted to beat me to death all the time because I was doing these terrible things to him. And so I had to be quick and agile and full of the staminas, as they say, so I could escape. And so I could tell a ton of stories about doing mean things to him, but one that stands out where it seems like I got my comeuppance. Like the spoiler alert, I get my comeuppance kind of in the story. We were on a family vacation with my aunt and cousins and my mother in North Carolina, staying on the shore in a little cottage by the beach. And we're coming back in the evening from a day at the beach, and there is this small like residential street running perpendicular to the beach with cottages set on either side of it, and ours was just a little ways up the street. So we're walking there in like the late evening light, and I decided, as I often did this time, that I should sneak ahead, hide behind something so I can jump out and scare the shit out of my brother. I would do this all the time. It was like my favorite thing to do. I should still do it more. I don't know why I don't, honestly. So I run ahead as no one's paying attention. I want them to think I've like just gone back to the cottage. Maybe I'm already inside, but in fact, I'm hiding behind a car that's parked on the street. I wait for my brother to walk by, and he walks right by the car, within a couple feet of it. So I jump out, scream in his face, and throw my hands at his eyes. And he is shocked, he is horrified, and he is enraged. Pardon me, I'm getting a little emotional again. So, he's going to try to beat me to death. Tissue, please. Thank you. I just want to let the drama build as I blow my nose on camera.
Actually, the sound quality of you blowing is coming through pretty well right now. It's pretty crisp.
Yeah, I like having nice, crisp nose blows. That's important to me. So,
built in 5 minutes for the nose blowing, so you can continue.
Only 5 minutes? What the fuck? So anyway, he's terrified. He's enraged. He's much bigger than I am. He's going to pummel me. I start running away, and at this point, I think I'm firmly established as being faster than he is, and I feel pretty cocky about it. So I'm like taunting him over my shoulder. But I also think I was running barefoot on the asphalt, and I didn't want to hurt my feet. That's like the deep irony of the story. I didn't want to hurt my feet, so I swerved left to cut between two of these cottages, not either of which we're actually staying in. And I see this low white picket fence in front of me. And I'm like, haha, I bet my brother can't even jump over this fence. I'm just going to hurdle right over it. So I run to the fence, jump over. I probably had much better hurdling form then than when I got older and was not able to stretch. But anyway, I jump over the fence. Next thing I know, I'm lying flat on the ground, like disoriented. It's like I'm coming to. It's like I blacked out. And I feel this intense pain in my feet and calves. I really have no idea what happened. I noticed my brother run up and like stop and look down at me, and he'd very suddenly transitioned from wanting to murder me to seeming actually concerned for my well-being. And that's because I jumped straight into a cactus garden. All kinds of cactus. It was really impressive. Like, they were quite the horticulturalist, whoever was keeping this cactus garden. I would estimate it 24 species easily. And every one of those 24 was now embedded in my flesh. Including, so there's prickly pear cactus, which was like the size of my childish fist, and it was sticking out of my legs. The heads of the prickly pear had broken off, was stuck in my legs, and along with that, there were probably literally hundreds or thousands of various sizes of cactus thorns stuck into my feet and legs. So my cousin came along, carried me home, back to the cottage, that is. And my mother and aunt spent like hours that night. I don't know what they did, like putting warm compresses on my legs to like soften the needles and plucking them out of me with multiple pairs of tweezers. And that went on for hours. And then I tried to sleep, and during the night I could just feel more needles being pressed into my legs by the sleeping bag. It was a little unpleasant. So one might expect I learned the lesson from this, to be nice to my brother and not play tricks on people. But in fact, I just learned how to play tricks in a more canny and premeditated fashion. And I think that's the end of my story.
That's the fourth of the three stories.
That's the fourth of the three stories that I know. That is true. And I think that's all I got.